All right, good evening. I would like to go ahead and call this regular city council meeting on Monday, January 26th of 2026 at 6 p.m. to order. Please rise. And we have a scout here today. Jonathan, would you come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jonathan, would you tell us your rank and how long you've been in Scouts?
I'm Life, and I've been in Scouts since 6th grade.
Okay, great. And what grade are you in now?
9th.
9th. And so with Life, are you getting close to working on an Eagle project?
Yep.
Okay, what is your project?
Well, today I was gonna see if Mr. Wolf was gonna be here to talk to him about the Eagle project he was offering.
Okay, all right. Well, if he doesn't show up, we'll make sure that we get you in connection with him.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for being here this evening. All right, Holly, would you call the roll, please?
Ludwig? Here. Haynes?
Here.
Jenkins?
Here.
Knausfer?
Here.
Rhines?
Here.
Gilroy?
Here.
Hanson?
Here.
All right, I'm looking for approval of the agenda for this evening as submitted, or if there's changes that need to be made.
Move to approve.
Thank you, do I have support?
Second.
Thank you, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now we have an opportunity for audience participation with a maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come forward at this time? All right, moving along. We have our State of the Williamston Depot Museum report, and we have Mitch Lutzke here. Thanks for being here, Mitch.
Well, thank you for having me. Last year I was canceled because of an ice storm or two, and then you guys couldn't get me on the agenda. Then I'm like, it's warm out, I'll just skip it till next year. So I was here the year before. So I'm Mitch Lutzke, I'm the president of the Williamston Museum at the Depot. I just want to let you in on what we've been doing in the past year and what we have plans on. For those of you who don't know, we're at 369 West Grand River. It is a city building on city property. It's part of Deer Creek Park. When it was plopped down there, and the city rescued the people that were trying to save the museum in the early to mid 1970s, because the original plan was to move the depot across the street to what was the school grounds, and the school board did not want it, even if it was going to be converted to a museum. So the city stepped up and said, we have a swath of land on Grand River, why don't you move it there? So, and then the Chamber of Commerce moved in, and we've been working together, since that time.
Can we ask questions through this?
Let's let him finish the presentation.
You got. So just a couple of things. I'd like to give you kind of the attendance. We're open on Wednesdays from 1 until 6. Now, we're not open in the wintertime for the first time in a couple of years. It was hard to get people there, and we're real concerned about older people. Even though the city does plow our roads and our driveway really well, we do the walkway and things, and we've had some older people that, we're going to wait till there's not snow and ice. So I was down there today with another member. We were doing ascensioning of items, and we meet people by appointment. But just to give you an idea, on our Wednesdays last year in the year 2025, we had over 200 people drop in to visit the museum. In addition, we offered programming that served another 220 people. Just to give you an idea, we have our March annual meeting. We meet with all the 4th graders in the Williamston Community Schools. They have to do, as part of their curriculum in 4th grade, it's the expansion of the United States. So it's past the colonies and stuff. So we talk to them about steam engines and steam power. That's one station. One is telegraph, kind of the early internet, right? Okay, instant communication. We do one station on the coal mining history in our town, which is lasted well over 100 years, and then the 2 brick factories in town. So the kids all come through 5 to 7 minute stations, and they have to go back and write a newspaper article. They come back, and so we've done that for 2 years, and we're doing that for a 3rd year this year with the 4th graders, which has been really, really fun. We had ice cream social this year for the 100th birthday of the Red Cedar Garden Club. We had over 60 people there for that afternoon and that celebration. The Ingham County Historical Commission, when they gave Cloyce Odell their Heritage Award in December, we had about 20 people there as well. And so our total, that was our, what we call museum events. And then we had about another 175 to 200 people meet here. We have about a dozen groups throughout the year that meet the museum. So I'll just give you an idea. We have the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts Troop 63. They're supposed to be meeting there tonight. When they don't meet at the park or the high school, they meet at our museum, and they have for 3 or 4 years. We host the rural letter carriers of Ingham and Livingston County either once or twice a year where they come and meet. The Pine Meadows HOA, they meet once a year. The Garden Club, Red Cedar Garden Club has their committee meetings there. If they're not at NISA, they're at our place. We've been doing that, as I said, since we opened the museum back in the 1980s. The Friends of Williamston Parks Committee with Heather and Earl and those guys, they meet, all their meetings are there. So that's usually 4 or 5 times a year. Williamston Track Improvement Committee, which is the booster club for middle and high school track and field and cross country, they meet 3 or 4 times a year in the evening there. The Williamston High School over 50-year class reunion, they have met there for the last couple of years. They lost their previous meeting place, so we open that to them 4 or 5 times a year. We also have the German exchange students from the Braunschweig Academy. They've come down to the museum every year. I think this will be our 12th year with them. So they come with their teachers, and I give them a tour of the community as well. And then we have individual groups that meet too, that want to meet with us. So you can see we're not just the museum, we're kind of a third space for other people in the community. And so we do that, and we shovel the walk and make sure the heat's on and all that kind of stuff for them as well. So we really like the idea that we're just not servicing people that like a museum, which is a niche group. It's not a large group. It's almost nobody under the age of 50, okay, other than the 4th graders. But also we let people know that they can come down there and meet as well. So that's kind of looking back in 2025. We will be opening in mid-March, our 1 to 6 in the afternoon on Wednesdays throughout the rest of the year. And 3 projects we're working with, and we hope we get them all done this year. So, I may have to come back to the council on a couple of things, but we've been working for 2 years on what we believe is the original railroad safe from 1871. And it went through a fire or 2, and it's got the fire marks on it. And we got this donated about 25 years ago, and it sat in a pole barn, and a couple of us said we got to do this. So we think we're going to have a ribbon cutting in the spring or early summer. It'll sit outside. Earl Wolf and I are working on an informational kiosk with it. It'll be enclosed in glass with lighting. And just for those of you, it'll be on the west side in the front. And so we don't have to be open to learn about the railroad history and the history of the safe here. We did have to pay money to open it up, and there was nothing in it. We were hoping it was like, oh, here's some Confederate money and gold doubloon, but it didn't work out that way. We're working with the Questers, the Shagbark Questers group. They gave us a chunk of money to do this as well. This project is probably going to cost us around $4,000 to $5,000. So we'll use some of our funding as well. So that's the railroad safe, so kind of look for that. I'd also like to give a shout out to Cardinal Fabricating. They did this frame for it and the caster wheels for free a couple years ago. And Jack Palmer Builders, they're doing the outside framing, and they're donating the wood for that and some of Jack's labor. And then of course Questers. So that's the railroad safe. The second thing is, when the Dietz Road Bridge was fixed last year, Monica Schaefer, the county commissioner for our area, called me and said, we've got this piece of wood out there that was like a support for the bridge, but it wasn't for this bridge or the bridge before. So I went out there with another person, and it's a hand-carved wooden pylon, and I think it dates pre-1874. So what I'm doing right now is doing a research on creeks and waterways and the bridges in this area. And then we're going to have an outside display on the east side where we have planting now next to air conditioning that will talk about bridges, the importance of waterways, what were they used for, what were they not used for, and things like that, to talk about kind of and that will also be outside, so the museum doesn't have to be open. We'll have a kiosk and say, here's what this is from, and you can still see where they took the axe and chiseled. I mean, it's hand cut. So I actually was really excited about that. So we're working on that. And the third thing is, and this one is, I talked to John Hannafin about this. We think we're going to get donated. It was Howard Dahlstrom's Model T, and then he sold it to Tom Johnson. It's a Model T truck pickup thing. It's not an original Model T truck. It's 1927. It was a car that was made into a truck. And we know that Howard drove it in high school. I think he was class of 1969, back where he was from. So what we're looking at doing is putting a shed between us and Barry Amos and putting this in there. It runs. We'd like to put it in the parades and stuff. But what we would do is we have a couple of windows, and then inside we would do this design where we go kind of like from horsepower, which was horse and buggy, to automobile horsepower. So like a 1927 calendar up, some bridle reins, some bits, a horse collar, and then oil cans, and then talk about when they paved Grand River. You know, like people say, how come people will come to the museum and say, how come people like Church Street and Putnam don't have attached garages? They have these things set aside. I said, those were for their horse and buggies. And then when they got rid of the horse and buggy, they just drove the car in there. So the idea that now everybody has an attached garage, or many people do, we'll talk about the change in structure of your homes like that, the changes in how wide the roads were and things. So we think we're going to get that donated, but we got to make sure it's a certain size, and we got a couple of trees, John, that need to be taken down that we just can't do with the Boy Scouts and a couple of old guys with a chainsaw. But we're hoping to have that up so we can tell the story of automobile power, which is of course important for Williamston because we're on Grand River and we got I-96. So those are three things. The safe will be done this spring. The pylon bridge thing should be done this summer. The Model T may take a little bit longer. So those are kind of our three big projects that we're doing, and those will all be outside. So if somebody's walking their dog and we're not open, you can still learn about area history by coming up and looking inside and that kind of stuff. So those are some of the things that we're planning to do. And besides, I do Facebook postings all the time and give guest talks, and we do other things. So that's the state of the Williamston Museum at the Depot for 2025, looking into 2026.
Mitch, that's fabulous.
I hope so.
Three great projects.
Yeah.
Love the idea about the car.
Yeah.
So then during open hours for the museum, would the garage, that shed be open?
Yeah, what we're thinking about, we're trying to combine modern practicality, safety, and
Sure.
code
Sure.
with, but we want it to look like a carriage house, so we think
I
we're gonna
was
have the
gonna
doors
ask
open
carriage
like
house.
this.
Yeah.
And then we gotta figure out, do we put glass, do we rope it off, or what we're gonna
Sure.
do? But yes, it would be, and then we'd have lights inside,
Sure.
so if you came up at night, you could read what was on the wall. We already talked to somebody today that says, I have like a 1920s oil can I can give you.
Yeah.
And this person also has horses, so
Okay.
we're in the early stages of that.
Great.
But we're hoping to do that, and that would be that'd be a standalone shed on the outside. We gotta navigate around the crawl space and a tree and a flagpole and stuff, but we're hoping that we can get that. And we have a local gentleman who he works on these cars all the time, and he said he will maintain it for free, so we'd like to put it in the parades.
Yeah.
Because we don't go and we don't do homecoming, and we haven't done the light parade for several years, and that's something I think we need to do because our target market are the people showing up.
Right.
So we'd really like to get that car, whether we put on a trailer, get it to run. I mean, it runs now, but I don't know if we're 10 degrees out, it's gonna run.
Right.
I'm learning a lot about Model Ts and how they're not like a modern car at all, and how they operate. So we're like, okay, we don't want this to be a money pit.
Right.
Because,
Right.
while you support us by paying, the water and the light bill and stuff, we have no paid employees, so everything's 100% donation. So we just can't have something that's like a money pit as
Right.
cars can be,
Right.
regardless of how old they are. So anyway,
All right.
okay.
Terry,
Terry, you had a question, Terry?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, where was the depot located originally? I
So
know it's next to kind of that big swampy area there, but by Deer Creek right now.
it was behind Briggs Mechanical on South Putnam Street.
Mhm.
So if you go it was at the end of Cedar Street. Cedar Street comes into Railroad.
Where Hi-Fi Fitness
Cedar
is,
Street.
right?
Yeah, kind of in there.
So where that pole barn where the fitness gym is at, Hi-Fi Fitness.
Okay.
So
'Cause- Yeah.
So it was there's a strip of land on the north side of the
Yep.
tracks.
Yep.
So
There's
that's
no
where it
middle on the
was.
tracks.
So there used to be 2 or 3 tracks that came
Yeah.
through town.
Yeah.
So if you go to the
Oh,
cold
the ice
storage
house?
building, yeah.
Is it opposite the ice house?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So if you stood on the front steps of the I house, you went to your left.
Yeah.
I believe the hand pump, the water pump is there. I believe that is where the water tower was. And that ran all the way through Cedar Street to the river. There's a 4-inch that CNO or Pierre Marquette put in the 1800s.
And how
So-
about the old depot that you think you found with fire marks on it, where was that located?
Pardon me, the what?
There's an older depot you were talking about.
No, the first two depots burned. They were at the same site. They just rebuilt the same footprint.
Okay.
So the first one, we have no pictures of, no photos or description of. That one burned in 1886. And then then they built a new one. Apparently it was flat roof and square, and the people hated it. Because when the second one burned in 1892, there was rejoicing in the local paper. Urban renewal at its finest, and a sucker burned down, and the railroad said, well, we're going to allocate so much money to build it. And there's a petition that was signed by all the muckety mucks, like 300 people, said we deserve a better depot. So the train company threw a couple more $100 in. They were going to originally allocate, I think it was about $1,000 to $1,200. They ended up doing $1,500, $1,700, which is 33% increase.
Wow.
And Hiram Higbee, who built this building, he built that depot.
Yeah.
And so, so that's the footprint was the same for all three, but they liked this because it had the peak roof and it looked kind of nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was doing some research the other day. They shut that down in 1963. It looks like with freight and passenger. We weren't sure about that, but I've been doing some research. And so, but that's it. So
So the ugly one was a rectangle with a flat roof.
that's what it said. They called it a.
Sounds like it was really modern.
Yeah, no. They called it a cheap, flat-footed concern that was like an embarrassment to a town of our status on the railroad line. That was almost word for word.
Oh my goodness.
Just to give you an idea, between Lansing and Detroit, Williamston, for years in the 1870s, 80s, 90s, early 1900s, was the most lucrative stop because of our agricultural. What it was in Fowlerville, now people say, oh, it must have been Brighton, Novi. No. Williamston was a community, and remember, Dansville didn't have a railroad, Bell Oak didn't, Weberville had it to go through. So you have all these people coming into Williamston here. So people wore that as a badge of honor, but they were mad when the depot, which is also built by Hiram Higbee, it burned. But then they're like, yeah, it burned, we get a better one. So
Yeah.
there you go. So that's it. Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, yeah,
Scott?
I'd like to point out that Mitch is the author of a book called Page Fence Giants. I just bought it and started reading it.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
Thank you.
It's real, especially not only baseball history, but human behavior. Oh my God.
Yes.
Isn't that fascinating?
And they played in Williamston. You'll find out. They played a game in Williamston.
Yeah, I'm only like a third of the way.
Okay.
But anyway, it's at the bookstore.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I won a Michigan Book Award that year, along with Wayne Kramer of MC5. He skipped the ceremonies, of course, you can imagine. And Keith Gave, who has been writing about the Red Wings and helped get Fedorov over. He used to live in Williamston, by the way, didn't know. And we spent a night together because it was like a foo-foo type thing, and I'm a teacher coach and he's a reporter, so we kind of foo-fooed off in the corner and just kind of swapped stories. Yeah, he talked about living in Williamston and the whole bit. I'm like, oh, okay. So it was kind of cool. But thank you. Yeah, the Page Fence Giants book is really, it's really good. Yep.
Wait a minute, sports writer or Fedorov?
He
The sports writer lived in Williamston?
Yeah, he worked for the
Okay.
LSJ. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and he lived with a bunch of guys up on Shaftsburg Road that worked for the LSJ, and I didn't know this, and we were sitting here just talking about stuff, and he used to anything else. But yeah, so but thank you. Yeah, let me only tell me good things, so I can't fix my book after. I tell people that you can't complain about the book afterward. It's done. It's done. But thank you.
Any other questions for Mitch regarding the museum before we let him go? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support as always.
All right, moving along on our agenda, we've got our council meeting minutes of January 12th of 2026. I'm looking for an approval to move that forward or changes if they need to be made. Thank you. Do I have support?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and now we have accounts payable. Terry, you had an opportunity to review, and can you tell us where the money went?
What happened to all that money? Well, the only interesting thing in here was that there was a stripping agreement.
But there was a if-asked catch on the part of Tom or something like that. Turns out there's two keys. It was actually a striping agreement. So,
Striping.
and it turned out to be kind of uneventful. But, okay. So the main thing is that of our $1.3 million expenditure, 1.1 million, which is to say 91%, was transfers to other governmental units.
Yep.
So the number we're looking at is maybe 70% of the money that comes in goes to other governmental units. But this particular pay period, or this account payable period, was 91%. So
All right.
that's, any questions, or do I do the motion of the questions?
Motion.
Motion. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve checks 78818 through 78852, EFT 1991 and ACH 1992 through 2030, for a grand total of $1,276,929.76.
Thank you so much. Do I have support?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments regarding accounts payable for this evening? All right, Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Haynes, Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Allsburg.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna move into our action items. It is a little bit of a long list. Our first is the appointment of Jane Reagan to the Board of Review for a term to expire 01/01 of 2027. We do have her application in our package. She is a long-serving resident on our different city boards. I'm happy to see that she would like to renew, so I'm looking to move this motion forward.
Make motion.
Were you gonna do it? Oh, okay. All right. You guys want
And
to
also
access
say
the paper?
that I have worked with Jane a little bit in various capacities. She's truly a Williamstonite
Yeah, she is.
and serves, as you indicated, serves a lot of boards and supports Williamston. So I would like to move that we reappoint Jane Reagan to the Board of Review for a term to expire 1/1 of 27.
Thank you so much. Do I have support?
Support.
All right. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Haynes,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Allsburg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
All right, next is our adoption of an emergency data center moratorium ordinance. I'm gonna turn this over to our city manager, John Hannafin. We do have some information in our packet, so I'm sure he's gonna lead us through this.
Thank you and good evening. This came about at our last planning commission meeting and was recommended that council adopt the emergency data center moratorium ordinance. What that will allow us to do is to prepare ordinance language for things like data centers, data mining, server farms, backup battery facilities, etc. We currently have the zoning ordinance is mostly silent on these type of facilities, and with the proliferation of those throughout Michigan, it's a good idea for us to have some language to ensure that we can be as protective as possible without being exclusive. Mr. Crone did prepare the ordinance. He's here to also answer any questions you may have. There's a number of whereases, but effectively what it does is allows the planning commission to work for the next 6 months on developing that language. And should this be adopted tonight, our next planning commission meeting is next Tuesday, and we'll start the work at the planning commission level of reviewing and preparing language for council to adopt ultimately.
Tim, would you like to add anything to this?
There are no currently pending applications for these types of uses. If there had been, the planning commission would be challenged to find where it might fit. And this will allow for specificity on this with regard to locations, setbacks, and buffer and screening with other uses. This is an emergency ordinance, so it will require 2/3 majority, and it will be effective upon publication if approved by this body.
So Tim, I do have a question, because I do see in here that this is for a period of 6 months, and
Yes.
planning commission is going to work to create that language. If we approach that 6 months and planning commission does not feel that they have appropriate language to move forward, can this moratorium be extended? Would
It
we
can
need to
be.
do an addendum?
Yes, we would, yes, we would adopt another ordinance extending.
Okay.
You may or may not recall, We have done moratoria in the past. There was one for, believe it or not, medical marijuana, not medical marijuana, and that was extended twice. But there were reasons why, because state law was in flux and there were other things that came up. Also, planning commission didn't get to where they needed to get, various things. As long as we have reasons to justify what we're doing here, it's unlikely that a court would intervene to do anything about this.
Questions? Because I know this is new for a lot of communities, especially for us. Yes, Scott?
Yeah, there's been some negative comments about it on the Williamston community page, concerns about the comment. I was wondering, is the attitude on the planning commission right now that we absolutely are going to try really hard not to have them, or that there are actually good aspects to them and they might be okay in certain places?
Whichever.
I'll
Tim?
take that one.
Okay, John, and then
Um,
Tim, if you have
so-
something to add.
A couple things. I mean, we have to be careful. You can't, in your ordinance, you can't say thou shalt not have a data center or a battery storage or something like that. So I think that the planning commission has really just started, I mean, all of us are aware of like the media and the surrounding communities and some of the hardships they've gone through, but we want to make sure that our ordinance is the best it can be and still being permissive within the letter of the law.
And Tim, did you have something to add?
That's basically it. We cannot totally exclude the use, but then again, maybe it's not desirable to locate here. You know, there are other practical considerations as well. I mean, it's a compact city and perhaps it doesn't have the capacity on the systems to allow this. And we did have this room completely full at the planning commission meeting, but a lot of them were from outlying communities.
Right.
Oh, really?
Right.
And
No, I
they're
think-
probably more at risk
Yeah.
than the city.
The rural communities for certain, because they have such vast acreage. But, you know, I mean, we are limited within the footprint of the city of Williamston. Dan, I think I saw your hand creep up.
It got addressed.
Okay, all right. Yes, Terry,
Thanks for putting this together so quickly.
yes.
That's
Now,
kind of response to the urgency that I felt at that planning commission meeting, when it was completely, standing room only, people standing outside the door in the cold.
So, Tim, you say that it will go into effect as soon as we publish it. So we vote on it tonight, and if we have that 2/3 majority of a vote. Thank you. Once it's signed and Holly, we publish on the website, we publish paper,
Newspaper, Lansing State Journal.
Lansing State Journal.
A
So,
notice of adoption,
Okay.
and I've already drafted it. And
okay, great. All right, if there's no other questions or discussion, I'm looking for a motion to move this forward.
I'd move that we adopt the resolution as presented as it relates to a 6-month moratorium as presented in the documents in our package.
Okay, yep, Tim.
Call it an ordinance.
Ordinance.
Second.
Ordinance is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. And we have a second. If there's no further discussion or questions, Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Haynes,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Bellisford,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes. All right, thank you, and thank you, City Manager John Hannafin, and Council Perone for getting this put together and bringing it to us. Next on our action items is a consideration of final draft of the master plan update. I'll turn this back over to our City Manager John Hannafin.
Thank you. At the January meeting, the planning commission did recommend council adopt the final draft of the master plan update. And should council do that tonight, what will happen, it will trigger the 63-day public review comment period. So the council and planning commission can receive public comments based on the draft to date. Also, as part of this, it gets distributed to the surrounding communities, the regional planning agency, library, school, et cetera, as well as obviously being published on our website and available in a hard copy. Not sure why the memo didn't make it, it might have been my fault, but the action tonight would be, if there's no additional questions, which council is certainly allowed to do, about the document, the action would be to consider the final draft of the master plan update and start the 63-day public comment period and distribute it to the concerned other agencies.
If there are no questions, or do you have a question, Terry? Okay.
Make a motion to adopt the master plan as presented, to begin the 63-day period of public comment.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you all. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Hanson,
Yes.
Haynes,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Osberg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
All right, next on our agenda is to set a council visioning session date for the fiscal year 26-27 budget. And so we do have a memo here in our packet from our city manager, John Hannafin. I'll turn that over to him, but I would suggest, council members, if you do have your calendars available, that we look at that. So, city manager?
Yeah, thank you. This is the annual start of our fiscal year budget preparation. This will be for fiscal year 26-27. So we start out in a vision session format, something we've done for the last 4 years at least. We're targeting 2 different dates, February the 24th or Thursday, February 26th. From a staff perspective, either one is fine. There's no other city meetings on either one of those nights, but recognizing that other folks might have conflicts. The other alternative, we have met the first week of March before, but I know that some of you historically have had some travel plans for around that time, so we tried to capture that the last week of February. So again,
All right.
wide open to whatever council would like to do here.
Okay. Terry, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm reading it says 1.5 to 2 hours. So is that like an idea or is that a promise?
Say the word and it could be a promise.
Terry, I can tell you, I've not had a meeting that's ever gone past 2 hours, so I will promise.
Got it.
All right.
I'm in favor.
And because this is a work session, I would certainly be okay with it proceeding. If everybody else can be there that last week of February, but, I'll start down here at the end with you, John. Would either of those dates work?
Yeah, either dates.
Okay, Terry?
Either of these.
Okay,
The
Steve?
24th would work for me.
24th would work for you. Dan?
I can do either date in February. I couldn't do the first.
Okay, Scott?
Yeah, either one's okay.
Okay, Tim? All right, so I'm comfortable, with you guys doing that, so I'll ask for that motion from somebody for that week.
Make a motion to set the annual council visioning session for the 2026-2027 fiscal year for Tuesday, February 24th of 2026.
All right, do I have
Second.
support? All right, Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Haynes,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Osberg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Our last action item of this evening is a local franchise agreement transfer of control. I'm going to turn this over to our city manager, John Yanman.
Thank you. I tried to be very brief with the description there. It's one sentence. But what this is the Wide Open West apparently has been, the corporate entity has changed hands, and we do have a franchise agreement for local cable service. This is the file maintenance for that. And if you dig down in the agreement, it says that who the principals were and who the new principals will be. For something like this, we would need the council approval, and then the mayor and the clerk would sign for that. So.
All right, yes, I see your hand, so go right ahead, I'm scrolling through it.
So what I just heard is this will do nothing as far as adding additional services. It's just that there's been a buyout or a restructuring, and we just need to change the name
Correct.
to who we're
Correct.
is committed to.
And, yeah, go ahead, John.
That's correct, and you can see in there's a whole bunch of communities that are impacted. They actually attached all of them. They have a form agreement for this, but yeah, it's just changing the corporate entity for a while.
All right. If nobody else has any further questions or comments regarding this, I'm looking for a motion to move it forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the attached local franchise agreement transfer of control of Wide Open West Michigan Limited.
All right, thank you. Do I have support? All right. Holly, will you call the roll?
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Allsburg,
Yes.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Haynes.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our action items for this evening. We are now going to move along to our discussion items, which is the main core safety improvements. John, you have updates for us?
Yeah, I have a brief one on that. The MDOT is working on the construction documents for the new signal. They're what's called the 40% completion stage. We're supposed to get quotations on adding mast arm, and that's just like it sounds. It's the, large galvanized metal or aluminum mast arms for the signals, and those would be on each of the four corners. That is an additional charge. What we currently have is, we have the string signal over the middle of the intersection there. So the idea with the mast arms, it would make it easier to add a turn signal in a future day. So, but again, once we get that price, it's really, because that's an add-on in MDOT's eyes, the city would be responsible for paying for that. I think we've talked about that from the beginning. So once I have that price, we'll share it with council, and then we'll move forward with that.
All right, great, thank you.
Or not.
Okay. Moving along to correspondence received, information only. We have several items that we've received. Friends of the Williamston Parks Annual Report. If you read through this and you do have questions, please reach out to our city manager and we will get those answers for you. We have our Consumers Energy Public Hearing Notice, and we also have the ITC meeting flyer. Again, with all of these, if you do have questions, please reach out to John and he will get those answered for you.
If I could.
Yes.
So I got an email from the Meridian Township manager. He's gotten a couple of emails, a couple of phone calls from Williamston residents that our board took action opposing the ITC project. And I relayed them the information that all of us have probably a strong opinion on it, but because they don't immediately traverse the city limit, that the city isn't taking any action, formal action. And that we did have a room full of folks here for a planning commission meeting, and we advised folks to reach out to their township. And subsequent to that, I think that Williamstown Township has done a great job of, they've created a survey instrument, really for everybody in the surrounding area to receive feedback. So I credit to Mr. Poth in the township board over there for doing that. So just wanted to, you know how social media can be at times, and just let folks know that we have not taken any formal action, and unless this board sees fit, I don't see the need for us to do that.
Correct, and you're absolutely right. Social media can spin into a lot of different directions. What I read with everybody not happy about ITC was that the city needed to work with TTE to make sure that we had better electricity service. So, and then people thought that ITC was coming in and going to replace DTE for service, but that is not the case. This is outside of the city limits. It doesn't affect our city residents, but it does affect our surrounding rural residents and townships. And so I appreciate that township residents did come and voice their opinion here, even though we don't, it's not going to be directly affecting our footprint of the city of Williamston. Moving along, we've got our department head reports, so I'll turn that back over again to John with his annual report presentation.
Thank you. Just pleased to share the report card for 2025 calendar year. Just a brief executive summary about a lot of the cool things that we had happen in the past year. So that is a part of the packet, and folks like Mr. Hanson want the straight facts and not any of the fluff, can go right to that one. But just to kind of walk through some of the things that we did in the past year. We saw all this information at the last council meeting, the annual report from the police department, so we did include that, calls for service, etc. For the projects that we accomplished, just thought it was important to point out, High Street got the first significant work since 1972. Yes, 1972, good year, it was 2 that year. Mullet Street was paved for the first time in city history, and so that was also a historic accomplishment, so that was good. And then we did a number of miscellaneous paving projects on Cedar, East South, School Street, Mechanic, and Quinlan, mainly the patch variety. We did a bunch of sidewalks in a bunch of different areas. These are the specific address stops and starts. That will continue, and we'll talk more about that in February. The DDA did a lot of projects this year. We did the East City Hall and the Police Department parking lot. That's one right behind me. We resurfaced the depot lot, which was in grave need of work, and it's much safer now. Did some patching the West City Hall lot, which is the one just on the other side of this building. All the downtown parking spots were restriped for the first time in a number of years. We got seasonal banners for the DDA. We got fall banners, and we got holiday Christmas banners, and then we'll be looking in the coming weeks and months to add spring and or summer banners in the DDA, so that's pretty cool. And then we were able, thanks to Holly and Barb and all the great work they did, we were able to get holiday lights on all the downtown buildings this year, so that was pretty cool. As far as economic development, we did acquire the 66 acres of property in the industrial park, and we do have a work session with Tifa to talk about that coming up. We were able to sell the ice house after many stops and starts on that after 20 years, and that'll preserve a key city landmark. We did approve the draft master plan, and as of tonight, council approved that, so we're moving forward with that. Number of new businesses, and including one of our own council members with the Candy Cafe in the past year. And then we had new construction starts at Tailgaters and the Riverwood Apartments. I'm not going to go through all of these, but all of them are really fun, super cool. The only one I wasn't able to make it to was River Days because I was in Texas for a football game. But all of these were great events, well attended. With the exception of Chainsaw in the Park, the plan is to have all of these again next year and maybe even add an event or two. So a lot of cool things happening there. And then, Terry, do you want to read this one? You like the numbers, or we'll go ahead and move on from this one. But this is ripped right from our audit, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is presented as part of the audit, but thought it was important to include the financial information. And then finally, I think most of you know about these projects, excuse me, but maybe the public might not know. The historic turbine, after 15 years of review and 150 some years in dormancy, we were able to make it a really cool art feature on Old Mill Park on the pathway, and it's really great. It's a really, really cool project. We were able to do a section of McCormick Park. We fixed a part of the parking lot. The small parking lot is the one right on North Putnam. The baseball field, dugout, and scoreboard. I mean, when I started here, I don't think, I mean, that was kind of a sore spot for me. We have great baseball history and softball history. We have great youth programs here, and we have this nice field that was just really careworn. So over time, we replaced the dedication sign, but we're also able to do the dugouts and do the scoreboard. And those are very low cost, high impact items. So I know if I was a kid, I'd be happy and proud to play there. We did add the Welcome to Williamston monument sign on Williamston Road. That was a Rotary donation project. We were able to do that. The new entryway to the second floor City Hall. I'm not sure how many of you knew we had an entryway to the second floor City Hall, but that was it was equally open to I think groundhogs, woodchucks, raccoons, and cats. So we were able to fix that. Manhole cores and restoration on South Putnam and East Church. If you regularly drive those streets, you would know if you went over those manholes, you would probably lose a molar or two. And so we did the project. Those were the worst first, so we fixed those. One of the really bad ones in the high traffic area was the one right over here off of the Hardware Nico's, and so we were able to fix that one. I shared the slide of this when it was in progress this summer, but the log jam clearing and Red Cedar River was really cool. And that was part of a grant that we're in partnership with Meridian Township and Williamstown Township to keep the river clear with the idea of, what's that?
Isn't that for 3 years?
It's a 3-year program,
Yeah,
yep,
so.
absolutely, yep. And then one of the last things we did, and they have, it's in design, they're reassuring me it's gonna be very soon, but our street lighting contract with DTE to get rid of the older, early generation LEDs that are the yellow lights and really bring some uniformity to the lighting in downtown. So a lot of really cool things. But when you put all that stuff together in a word map, it looks like this, and maybe that's how I shouldn't share this. This is how my brain works sometimes. But I think it was an excellent year, and I appreciate Councilmember Jenkins for coming up with the idea of making this a summary presentation and presenting it to not only the council but to the community.
Right. So in presenting that to the community, we're going to have it on our side?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we'll do, we'll create an annual report tab starting this year, and from here on out, we'll have the
Great.
annual reports. And
I love it.
See our
Yeah,
progress.
very.
I love it, that's great. Any,
This
yes,
is really something to be proud of. This is really, really a solid statement that Williamston really has it together.
yeah, it's a
You've
very
done
good,
an excellent job. Thank you for doing this. Whose idea was this?
Yeah, I
it's
think-
yours, but
I think,
yeah, but there, even like tonight, like Friends of Williamston Parks has
Yep.
their annual report. The museum came and gave theirs. Chief gave his last time.
Yep.
So it's just finally putting all this good information and good data together in one spot and sharing it with the public.
Excellent.
great news. Steve, you want to say something?
Just are we gonna, I know we're gonna publish this on the website, are we going to print this at all?
Okay, excellent, love it.
And each business maybe get a copy of it?
Absolutely.
I just want to frame yours because you were
I just took your document down today.
Alrighty, Chief,
Good
How are ya?
afternoon, or good evening. The only thing I would point out is with the cold weather and the brutal weather that we've had, we've seen an uptick in calls to check on our vulnerable populations. We every couple of days we get a call, whether it's Meals on Wheels going to check on deliver meals and someone didn't answer the door, we'll go out and knock on the door, make sure they're okay. So if someone needs someone checked on, we can do it.
great, that's great that you guys are doing those wellness calls because we want to make sure that everyone's okay.
That's all I have, thank you.
Alright, thanks, Chief. Alright, moving along, committee, subcommittee reports. I know it's the almost middle of, well, kind of the end of January. Anybody have any board meetings that they want to share information on at this time? Alright,
I did go to Tiffany,
oh, you did?
and I can't remember what happened.
That's okay, Scott.
You volunteer for all kinds
I
of
like it better when you tell us about the cemetery report, to be quite honest.
2 points for the
What happened? You were there, you tell.
You just need to report to the ice house at 3 a.m. tonight, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, right, yeah. You're gonna see how cold the ice house really is. Alrighty, audience participation, maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Would anybody like to come forward at this time? Alright, moving on, we've got council member comments. I will start with Tim at the end of the row here.
It's just great to see everything going on, everything happening, and how much we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really been a plus, and looking forward to all the things that continue to be moving forward.
Scott?
Yeah, you know, the thought that occurred to me when we were talking about social media was that there was a time when we had the local newspaper, and we had Will Welton was our reporter, and we were covered so well,
Yeah.
people could tell what was happening from City Hall right in the newspaper.
Yep.
Now we don't have that, and there's social media, and I respond intermittently on social media if I know what they're talking about.
Sure.
But, you know, we don't actually have an official way of getting out the information.
Yeah.
I mean, people can watch the meeting.
Right.
But anyway, so I don't know if we need to do something about that.
I would love for a newspaper to come back to, you know, Williamston. I think it's important. I mean, you see the senior center posts their newsletter. Fowlerville has their newsletter at the post office. I'd love it if somebody picked up that torch and ran with it. Scott, you're volunteering. All right, Dan.
Scott was saying, like, we did have the enterprise for a long time. Unfortunately, we don't anymore. But there are ways, you know, other than social media, you can get on our city webpage.
True.
This is gonna be posted on
Yep.
there.
Yep.
I think most of our ordinances are on there. There's lots of ways to verify without going to social media what is actually occurring. It would be great if we got a newspaper back, but.
Okay, great. Steve.
Reiterating what I've already said, commendations to John and the staff for putting together that report. And I think that is key. Going back to what you said, is that if we have the information and we could say, go to the library, go to the website here,
Yep.
go to the Candy Cafe, we're going to have a copy sitting on the table for everybody to look at. So I too commend having that put together. And just as a comment, while we don't need to sing happy birthday, it is the 189th birthday
Of the state
Michigan.
of Michigan, yes it is.
Oh, wow.
Yes it is. Happy birthday to our man. All right. Terry?
I'm kind of chuffed that I'm on the city council of a town that can produce that annual report. That's just amazing.
Well, because we know you like numbers and data,
And all the numbers. Wow.
right? John?
Yeah, I just want to say a lot of work on that master plan. Wow.
Yeah.
My eyes were kind of bleeding at the end. But what a lot of work.
Yeah, long overdue, long overdue. We had some hiccups along that with when it was supposed to actually be worked on because of COVID. And so I want to commend Planning Commission for doing such a fabulous job and really getting that moving forward. Yeah, I think I've always said this, and while I've held this seat, is we have to be transparent. And I love the fact that we put this report together, so I like the idea of us moving forward with it. I like, the more information the better, because making sure that our residences and our businesses are well informed, whether it's through our website, calling staff, talking to one of us, we do a good job at that, and I know that there's always going to be areas that we can improve. And yes, going to where the facts are based and not social media, because social media is completely editorial, opinion driven. And like I said, I would love to see somebody come up with, even if it was quarterly, print of a newspaper, but I know that takes a lot of effort and time. It is cold out. Thank you, Chief, for reminding us about our neighbors, the elders that need to be checked on. So please do that. Also, because we are in the thick of it with this winter, which we have not had a winter like this, please remember that there is no city parking on city streets between 2 and 5, so that when we do have snow events, our DPW can get out there and clean those streets and make them safe for travel, as well as they do an outstanding job of making sure that our downtown district sidewalks are taken care of. Residents, when we do have these snow events, there are 2 different snow removal etiquette, so to speak, for sidewalks within the first, for 2 inches or less within the first 24 hours.
Right.
Anything over 2 inches, it's a 48-hour. Certainly, if you are a resident and you're not able to get out there and take care of that sidewalk, let City Hall know. That way, nobody shows up and knocks on your door and says, get out there. But also ask, some of these young kids that might need to earn some money in your neighborhood. I know I've got one. But yeah, just be safe out there with these cold temperatures, and also take care of your pets. They're outside, they deserve to be warm too. But we're all gonna get through it. Hopefully, we won't see any other big significant, events, but it is only January, so. I appreciate all the efforts of our DPW and keeping everything open and clear for us in the city. And now I'm looking for a motion to go into closed session to discuss attorney-client privilege letters dated January 16th, 2026 and January 19th, 2026, as allowed by MCL 15.2681H.
So moved.
Do I have support? Holly, can you call the roll, please?
Ludwig?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Haynes?
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Van Elsberg?
Yes.
Rhines?
Yes.
Gilroy?
Yes. All right, we will go into closed session at 6:53. At this time, I will ask our audience and members that are not essential for a closed session to please leave the council. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call our city council meeting back into session at 7:49. And I'm going to make a motion that we close our session. We are not taking action from our closed session. So I call to adjourn at 7:49. There you go. Not 2 hours.